I just need you to smile so I can get some, like...
We say this every night, and we don't get one.
We did get one yesterday.
Oh.
That's where I pulled that from.
Okay, I'm ready.
Go ahead.
Welcome to Unbuzzed at Bedtime with Wendy and Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
Day
152.
Tonight, we're going to talk about treatment.
Yay! Such an uplifting topic.
Yeah, and it's a topic that we have talked about at length.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have some pretty big different opinions.
Yeah.
And certainly different experiences.
Polar opposite experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a good topic because you can speak from one angle and I can speak from another.
Mm-hmm.
So we should
get her going.
Get her going.
Yes. Okay.
Wait, I'll start.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the drive there.
Maybe you should back up. You want to start right there?
Okay. And where else are we going to start?
Okay, start with the drive there.
Let's start with the drive there. Because if you're referencing what led us to the drive there, I'm going to use that as one of my excuses for some of my behavior.
Okay.
All right, so we'll get to that. The drive there. I was like, leading up to the drive there,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we were in a pretty positive space together. You know, both decided on this, agreed, plan in place for me at home with the kids. I think we tried to like joke and like laugh off sort of the heaviness of it. But then the minute we pulled out of the driveway, I would like purposely had my sunglasses on, which I don't normally wear, and, you know, just trying to block my emotion. Before we were even out of our neighborhood, I was already a hot mess.
Oh, same.
And then I realized you were a hot mess. And so by the time we got to the interstate, I think we finally addressed that we like couldn't do this the entire drive there. And we were going to have to figure out how to make it less emotional for the 2 hours. Well, that was tough because I was like tough guy leading up to that point, thinking, you know, it's just 30 days. And I really just thought like just 30 days and like poof, we were healed and moving on with life. Because this was our first and your first experience with treatment. Mm-hmm. So, you know, for anybody who's looking at us going, you knew better. We didn't know better. Or I didn't know better.
I mean, I knew that there was going to be work afterwards,
Sure.
But I think I was more framing that for myself as like trauma counseling.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of separating that from substance abuse treatment.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of like putting them into like two completely different buckets, like they weren't intertwined.
Right.
So, yeah.
All right. So we both had a difficult drive there.
Mm-hmm.
Just rough. And then this is where the experience like just I feel like was totally different for both of us. So I'll tell the entrance in my point of view. So they like swept you into one room, and then I'm just kind of out in like the lobby area waiting, which it seemed like an eternity for the family counselor to come down and meet with me. And it was just like super brief. I felt like it was very rushed. I felt like I had some questions that were answered very vaguely and just like, you're going to be okay. And I was a mess, an absolute mess. And I could see you talking to whoever it was you were talking to.
It's like the intake person.
Yeah. And I remember thinking, like, why are you in that alone? Because I knew you were signing documents, right? Like, whatever, signing yourself in or signing for insurance or signing something. But that just seems odd to me. Like,
especially when people, are under the influence of something coming in. Yeah.
Which you weren't.
I wasn't.
Right. Because we're really careful about that to give you a few extra days, jump on that. But yeah, you can't even like agree to a piercing or a tattoo or whatever, but you can agree to this and your loved one's like not invited to the signing. So I was turned off by that, didn't like it. And my questions, a couple of them were answered, like I said, vaguely, and then that was it. And then it was like our hug.
Yeah, like, you guys can say goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very quick goodbye.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. With a lot of eyes.
Yeah.
Which I get. I understand the reason for that. Like, safety for you and safety for your entrance into the program. Ouch. It's just emotional.
Just about to knock the microphone off the table. Jeez.
Still in pickleball mode. But I get it. I just didn't like it.
It was very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just echoing, like, the drive there was very emotional. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't want to be away.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. I just didn't know what to expect on the other end.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, we, of course, had talked at length many different times that I have struggled with addiction issues for a very long time. Doesn't matter what the substance is. It's the way my brain works.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way that my brain is. And I was so worried that you were mad at me.
Oh, even on the drive, like when? On the drive or when we got there?
Even before.
Oh, yeah.
Even before we had, like, finally decided for me to go,
mm-hmm.
I was so worried that you were mad at me. Or disappointed or whatever. I had let you down.
Mm-hmm.
And it hit something in me. Mm-hmm. I didn't like it. But I was so worried you were mad at me and you just weren't telling me because you were trying to be supportive to get me there,
mm-hmm.
which you were. I'm not going to say you were trying. You were being very supportive
mm-hmm.
and, like, encouraging and positive
mm-hmm.
as best as you could, even though, like, I had just kind of turned your world upside down too.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what to expect on intake. I didn't know that we were going to be separated immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And with my anxiety, thinking of, like, this last week when I had high anxiety, that's like nothing compared to that day.
Yeah.
That day I was high strung
mm-hmm.
and, like, crying at the drop of a hat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, completely separated and not able to talk to you about my worries and fears
mm-hmm.
in those moments, and trying to do my best to be honest when answering questions because I knew that was the only way I was going to get
mm-hmm.
the help that I needed. But there's a lot of shame around answering those questions honestly
Yeah.
too. So that was
Which is probably
difficult.
why one of the other reasons why they separate the loved ones, in case,
There are things
yeah,
that
they're
you
worried you're not
didn't
gonna.
know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I find when we're in scenarios like that, we bounce off each other, and it's easier for us to ask questions with the support of the other one. So that sucked.
Yeah.
And then I knew before you left that there was going to be this like 5-day blackout period.
Yeah.
We were aware of that before I got in the car to drive you there.
Blackout meaning we couldn't have contact for
Correct.
5 days. Mm-hmm.
Right. And we knew that. I knew that. That seemed reasonable at first. It quickly didn't seem reasonable. I wanted to know, not necessarily from you. That would have been nice, but I knew that wasn't going to happen. So I had called, and I just wanted to make sure, because all of your belongings got shuffled off into a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew you were having so many issues at the time with your blood sugars.
Yeah.
And like scary issues. Mm-hmm. So, we had many issues at night where your lows were in the 30s. Mm-hmm. And so I just wanted to hear from somebody that you had access to that device, because I knew you didn't have your phone.
Mm-hmm.
That would
It's the receiver on a
Yeah.
Dexcom. Yeah.
So that you had that. And so when I called and I got sent to like a nursing station of some sort, and whoever it was had absolutely no idea what I was talking about, and I went from like normal to real crazy pretty quickly. And I think that was just the start of my spiral. Mm-hmm. Like my personal 30-day spiral.
I had completely forgotten about that. I didn't even get the Dexcom receiver until like day 2 or 3.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so I made a stink. That was like super late at night. And then the next day, I think I called anybody and everybody that would hear me. And I'm like, she has got to have access to that thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know where it's being kept, or is it like, trapped in your belongings or whatever, but I was having a full-blown fit about that. And so then I just felt like, really from that point on, anytime I spoke to anybody outside of you, that I wasn't actually getting the full story. And I was asking, like, what... Like, I knew you had to be in detox, we thought, for, like, potentially just a couple days.
I think I said 72 hours, so 3 days.
Right, because you weren't, like...
I wasn't...
truly detoxing from anything, like, in a...
Nothing life-threatening.
Right.
Like, when you're detoxing, there are 2 things that will kill you if you do not detox appropriately. One is alcohol, one is benzodiazepines. And I wasn't detoxing from those.
Mm-hmm. So I wanted information when you were getting moved out of that area and into the living spaces. And I just could not get a straight story about that. And then I was worried, like, what they were doing with your medications. And, oh, my goodness, did I get all sorts of stories. And never really felt like I was getting the truth. And so I was not doing well here.
And then another part of going to treatment was that I was having significant suicidal ideation. Mm-hmm. Significant in the way of frequency and vividness, I guess, mm-hmm. would be the best way to describe it. And distressing. Mm-hmm. Like, it was really frequent. I couldn't shut it off. I was just really confused about, like, why I was feeling so sad and so desperate. Mm-hmm. So being honest about that, they put me on suicide watch. Mm-hmm. Rightfully so. Like, it happens. There's plenty of people there that are feeling that way. Mm-hmm. But I was on 15-minute checks for, like, I don't know, like 6 days or something like that. you're supposed to be able to, wean off your 15-minute checks pretty quickly, but if you're on the 15-minute like nursing checks, you don't get to leave detox. So the way that they were talking and the way that they were reevaluating my suicide risk was using the same screener over and over again that asked me questions about the last 30 days.
Right.
And I was like, my answers aren't going to change because you're still screening within the last 30 days. And yes, I have in the last 30 days. And I wasn't able to talk to you yet. And I was like, I'm going to be stuck in detox this entire time. I'm not going to be able to go, because you're pretty locked down to one building when you're in detox, and on those checks you can't go to different buildings and participate in certain groups if you're confined to the one building. I was like, what am I gonna... I thought I was going to get X, Y, and Z out of treatment, but if I can't leave this one building, I'm not going to be able to participate in any of those things. And I couldn't talk to you about it. But I very quickly learned that you were talking to staff about those things. And I think that was potentially unfair to you because they didn't know us. They didn't ask a lot of like relationship questions. And maybe the way that you called about the blood sugar hit somebody wrong.
I'm sure.
Because it was almost like they were worried that you were a controlling spouse.
Yeah, because I didn't want you dead. Yeah.
And then the other part of the blood sugar thing, like I would have really low blood sugars at night, into the 30s. And at that point, when my blood sugar was that low, it was like I was drunk. I mean, I'd be slurring my words. I wouldn't make sense. I couldn't like function. My hands wouldn't work. And so I had to say to just about every nurse, like, if I'm acting weird, please feed me, and then I'll do whatever test you need me to do. But feed me first. Right. Because if you miss that because you're thinking that we are in a drug treatment facility and I got something I wasn't supposed to, I'm going to be in a coma and I'm going to be dead. So please feed me first and then ask me to pee or give you, like, whatever.
Right.
And no one really took me that seriously until I had a significant low on the finger poke in front of them. And then they were like, oh my gosh, what do you
your
mean?
wife isn't controlling crazy. She's knew what she was talking about. Because I was also... person. Not only was I stuck about you having the receiver, but I was like, does she have access to snacks? You know, because I knew that wasn't part of the program because we had asked that before intake, you know, just on that original phone call. And I was like, it's serious because you turn into this like blubbering mess that...
I can't even open the snacks sometimes.
I mean, I don't know how many times before you went to treatment where you were in a low and I was asleep and then you wake me up and I like, what the hell are you doing? Wandering around, making no, you know, like I just never understood it. But then we finally figured it out.
Yeah.
So there was that. I do want to touch on the suicidal piece because walking in there, you didn't call it that. You always referred to it as intrusive thoughts. And you were sometimes honest with me about having them. But the way that you sold it to me, you really played it off. It's just like, oh, these things pop in my head. And I just, like, was too naive to, like, understand that. But I think someone very quickly said to you, like... those are not intrusive thoughts.
It wasn't even until my counselor now.
Oh.
That was like, Yeah, we call those suicidal thoughts, not intrusive thoughts. And I was like, oh, whoops. I also, at the beginning of this, like, I didn't want to overburden you with what was happening in my head because it was heavy and it scared me, and I didn't want to scare you. So I just didn't know how much you wanted to know. I think I finally asked you on one of our evening walks, like, how much do you want to know? Because I don't want it to become overburdensome to you. And you were like, tell me everything and let me decide if it's overburdensome.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, but I would come home from work and I'd be crying in the car on the way home, and not even necessarily after like a particularly rough day. And it's like, what's going on? And how do I say to my wife, like, well, I just had to like actively talk myself out of driving into a semi the entire 25-minute drive home. How do you do that?
Because this is always happening when you're driving.
Yeah, for the most part.
Which once I found out that piece, I mean, that's just
It's scary.
scary. Because if you add that to any type of impulse control, that's scary. Because in a vehicle where all it takes is one movement of an arm, you know, there's not a lot of extra steps in there to go, do I really want to, you know, do this, or, you know, am I just in a bad space today, or whatever it is. And it's always hard on your drive home because at that point kids are home, and, you know, I'm like in the middle of getting dinner for them or running them to activities and stuff. So I think you always worry about like the burden of calling me. So that's tough, but yeah, so those first days sucked.
Oh God, yeah.
And I can't say that I had any delightful interactions with anybody.
That was made abundantly clear.
Yeah. So your crazy wife is calling us every day. Cool.
So much so that the like director of
Yeah.
nursing, I believe, or like the director of the clinical, she was the one that finally like was like, I'm gonna redo your suicide screener. And she asked several more questions, and she was the one that like really helped me understand the connection between the increasing frequency and distressing piece of those thoughts and the use leading up to treatment. But she helped me understand that I was likely feeling more and more suicidal because of my habits at that time. So that was helpful for me to understand, and then I finally got off suicide watch. And then it was a couple, like 1 or 2 days later, that I got to move out of detox and into one of the cabins, they called them, which was a totally different experience. But that wouldn't have happened, I don't think, had you not called.
Yeah. Squeaky wheel.
But I definitely could tell there was a certain misconception, certain attitude.
Oh yeah, they didn't love me. I knew it.
Yeah.
And I frankly didn't give a shit, actually, because it felt like we were sold on this like family piece.
Oh yeah.
That I was going to potentially get some sort of support that I didn't receive whatsoever. And not that it's an excuse for my behavior, but this was really, really new to me. Like as green can be. Because I am forgetting right now, I'm trying to think of it, the timeline, but I found out about your addiction stuff 1 week before you were in the car and we were driving to treatment.
Yeah.
Talk about a surprise. Okay. And then, like, and not really having any time to sit in that because I knew this was our opportunity to get you help. And then you agreed. And so then it was like go mode and like trying to be super supportive to make sure you didn't change your mind. And like no time. 1 week. Now I went to the family day and I'm sitting in a room full of loved ones. Spouses, girlfriends, boyfriends, parents, whatever the loved ones were. And it felt like all of them were...
We have a small human.
Oh, goodness.
I would like to correct one thing. You did know, and we had talked about my addiction issues previously.
Yes, fair.
You were not aware of the current issues that were going on.
Right, because there was like a 2-year time frame when I was aware previously. And I just was naive in thinking things just disappear on their own. So we just hadn't been down the treatment road. And it was a little bit of a blindside. First,
a lot of a blindside.
Yeah, a lot of a blindside. First time, like, just knowing anybody going to treatment, you know, just like all new to me. And I tried to describe this for the people that worked there, and I almost felt like they didn't believe me. Like, yeah,
you didn't know.
bullshit.
Okay. Yeah.
But I didn't. And my experience was totally different than everybody sitting in that family room. You know, they were all... Not all. I'm not going to use the word all because I didn't speak to all of them. That's not fair. But many of them were super mad at their loved ones. And this wasn't the first time. And it wasn't the second or third. And some of them described trying treatments like all over the United States and how it's impacted their lives so tremendously. And I was just sitting there sobbing the entire family day. I could not get my shit together because I just didn't feel that way. And so it was so hard. Because I didn't relate to anybody. Talk about feeling alone. This was part of our conversation in starting Unbuzzed company, podcast, and apparel, was that isolation. And I was certainly there because there was nobody in that room that had found out a week before.
And that hadn't had, like, multiple fights, multiple ultimatums, multiple, like...
Yeah.
I mean, I know sometimes we use humor inappropriately, but, I mean, I guess I was just really good at hiding it. So I don't know if I get a sticker for that.
Yeah,
but
fair. I think the good part of that is our kids didn't know.
Yeah.
The bad part is I didn't know, but the good part is they didn't know. We were really careful with how we worded things to them when you left. So I think sheltering them while they're young is important, and we've talked about like at what point do we have to cross the bridge with them to make sure that they're aware of their own genetics for some of them, and just, you know, being super cautious and careful as they move into adulthood. But so again, not blaming my craziness,
Not excusing it.
yeah, I guess. But at that point, I was really in my feels. And then we started having phone conversations. We've talked a little bit about these just on our little test in the mics one, where I look like a hot mess and it's still posted. Yeah, cool. But then maybe I was a little bit mad at you because I refer to your time outside of the detox portion as Disneyland. And I guess I kind of stand by that still, because from what I was hearing and what I was feeling here and how miserable I was on this end of it, and then like to hear that you were making friends, you were having social time at night that included card games or board games, which is something you and I absolutely love. We fill our time now we do this.
Yeah.
We should like play cards while we're doing it.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, you would never be able to concentrate. No. So I would win. Stay tuned for phase 10 Unbuzzed at bedtime. But man, that irritated the shit out of me. Like, you've got this buffet, and then after family day, I got to like see it, right? So you've got all this food options that you didn't have to put effort into having. You've got
That's why
friends.
I gained so much weight.
Yeah.
Raisin Bran, not the healthy option. just so you know, there's a lot of calories in Raisin Bran.
You know, the cards, the friends, the nice environment. I mean, I know that's not all treatment centers, but that one was just really pretty and relaxing, I guess, when I got to see it firsthand. And I'm here dealing with 7
children.
Yeah. Oh, and a dog. And it wasn't the like single parenting. Like, it just wasn't, because before I met you, I had 6 or 7 foster kids at one time, and it was smooth sailing. It wasn't that. It was the loneliness. Yeah. And then the pushback I'm getting from staff, the non-support I'm getting from the family staff that I thought, you know, were going to be like really, I don't know, I guess I thought like giving me some sort of like weekly counseling on how to get me through this.
Yeah, that's not what it was.
No, and I'm stressed about money and, you know, where's the next meal going to come from? You know, just, which is a little dramatic. We had a decent savings from our taxes. The timing was really good because we hadn't, you know, remodeled the bathroom or anything dumb like that. So we had savings, but I was being super careful. I was trying to work every second that I could just to make the extra cash. And I had said to you once when I was super cranky on the phone, like, must be nice. Like, I haven't had an adult conversation, let alone like playing games. Yeah. And oh man, it just was so hard to not be super irritated. And the other piece to that is a small part of me wanted to hear that you were miserable. Because then I had the worry, like, if this is so comfortable and nice and pretty and great friends are there, like, what's going to stop you from wanting to go back? Right? Because, well, that's just my end of it. I know it's funny on your end, but I wasn't there. But that's how I was looking at it.
Yeah.
Because you got a month off. again, this is my
Yeah, I know.
perspective. I know it's not your perspective.
I know.
From real life. And I was like, when's my time? When can I disappear for a month and be like, hey, have fun with those kids. See you later. Don't stress about money. I'll just be playing board games with my 7 new friends. Like, that's what the reality was like for me. And I was pretty bitter Betty about it. And that was the only time I was like irritated. And it was more of the situation. Like, I don't know that it was like, I was pissed at you when you're being
What's the word?
assertive. When you were practicing your assertive work on the phone with me for those stupid 15-minute phone calls. And then the other thing, like around those, I know we've talked at length about those stupid calls, but just like balancing the 9 million questions I need to ask you about FMLA.
Yeah.
And then we had one kid going through a whole bunch of health shit, and I like wanted to ask you stuff about that, and I was trying to just not that I thought you'd be concerned, but I just wanted your opinion.
Yeah.
You know, and it just, we just didn't have time for it.
It definitely was difficult because I felt a little bit of a disconnection from you. And I feel like that's by design, right? There are a lot of people, I think, that end up in that spot because there's a lot of codependency in their relationships. I joked the other night that there was some codependency here, but it's doesn't meet the definition. We just like each other. And not being able to speak except for 15 minutes every 3 days, I felt disconnected. And then when the first time I sensed that you were mad, right, that just shut me down even more. And it just made our dynamic a little bit harder. And it was just the situation. Like when I came home, I didn't feel that, but I definitely was a little bit bitter that you felt like I was on vacation because I was not feeling like I was on vacation. I was exhausted because they were making us do some emotional work and like feeling, just even allowing myself to feel emotions. That took like a whole week and a half to even get there. And then trying to identify, and part of the naivety of what we thought I was going to get while I was there was like some intense counseling. I was ready to jump all in and head on and do all this trauma work, and they're like, whoa, that's not how this works, honey. Like, you're not even close to being ready to jump into that because you're not even regulated. Like, you have to learn how to regulate yourself before you can dive into trauma work. And I was like,
right.
What do you mean? I'm fine.
You said you were going to fix me in 30 days. And
You have a
30-day ticking.
You have a 30-day deadline, and we're like 16 days in, and
Yeah.
I haven't done anything. What do you mean? Like, you can't even recognize what emotions you're feeling, and you disconnect so quickly from uncomfortable emotions. Like, you're not ready. I'm here. I'm ready. No, that's not how this works. Fine.
I knew what emotions I was feeling.
Congratulations.
I was just thinking about those like family calls that we had to have. Did we have 2 of those?
Yeah, they're
Like
so awkward.
Stupid Zoom, and I just felt like I was so combative, and I just could not reel it in, didn't give a...
Yeah,
didn't
and
care.
those were disconnecting for me too, because I was so worried that you were mad at me. And then that's what was coming across. So coming across like body language,
Yeah.
verbal,
Yeah.
you were mad, but then the words you were saying, I'm not mad. I'm like, you're a liar. You're mad. It was that part. I don't. The family counseling sessions that we did have, I think those could have been much more therapeutic. But I also think, and I may be wrong, but I think that maybe they were looking for something to be wrong. I don't know.
And I was feeding that because
for
I
sure.
was so cuckoo. But I just remember being like, this is not us. But the scenario was set up to not allow us to be us. And I'm sure that worked out for many couples. Great. Don't want to hear from her for 30 days. See you later. Yeah. And then Mother's Day was mixed in there.
Oh, yeah.
My
and your
birthday was mixed in there. Just, yeah.
It wasn't a good time.
No, but it was the time. It's
Yeah.
never a good time, I'm sure. I'm sure no one's like raising their hand saying,
Send me to rehab.
now's the time.
I want to go now.
But yeah, Mother's Day, super hard. Birthday, we don't do much for each other's birthday. We never have. It's not really our thing, but...
I still felt really guilty.
Right, because you were probably playing Phase 10.
Probably.
Yeah, and I was irritated about it. I'm still irritated about it.
And do you remember before I went to treatment, I was like, I was so worried I wasn't going to connect with anyone. I wasn't going to make any friends. I didn't want to make any friends. I felt like I was going to be ostracized. I didn't fit in. Why are you here? Your life isn't in shambles. Why the hell do you think you need rehab? And you said, I hope you do make friends. I hope you do make connections. I hope you do connect with people. And then I did. And you were mad about it. So I just couldn't win. And I also had to recognize at that point in time, I wasn't going to win. I had been lying, and maybe not directly, but definitely by omission for a long time.
Right.
So I just kind of had to tuck my tail and like, okay, well, we're mad. She's mad right now. Okay. You're allowed to be mad right now.
Yeah, I was mad.
And I'm sure you still, like, feel mad sometimes, but...
About the treatment experience? I'm definitely still mad about that.
Still bitter about that.
It doesn't, like, ebb and flow. It's just there. Oh, I don't even know why. Like, I guess I just wanted you, like, in your cabin, like, sobbing... writing in
missing you.
Yeah, writing in a journal and being like, never want to be here again, you know, like.
Oh, I was scared shitless about, because some of the first stories I heard were people that had been to treatment like 10, 11, 12, 18, 19, 20 times. And I was like, I don't know if I'm cut out for that.
Well, I knew I'm not cut out for that.
And I remember you saying that at Family Day, and that my heart sank because
relapse happens.
Like relapses happen. Your sobriety is never guaranteed. Like you have to work and stay committed and be serious about why you're doing this work. And my heart sank. Like, well, what if something happens? And the something we've talked about, like, I've had multiple surgeries that's definitely a catalyst for me. You know,
Or anything.
illness, anything.
A car accident or, you know, anything can re-spark it. My hope, I don't think you loved it enough to just like, if you get super stressed with work or our life here and you're just feeling like you want to break, you know, I don't think that that's going to be your path, but I just want you to say it, and we'll like, with those cheap flights to Iceland, I'll just send you over the pond for a week and you can just go relax in a hot spring.
Instead of relapse, have a 30-day vacation.
In 30-day Disneyland, as I call it. But, you know, oh man, that was crappy. And I was home journaling, which I opted to never show you. I actually made them disappear into the trash that was being picked up, I believe, the morning I went to go pick you up. Because I wrote them all out of like such an angry place that they were real feelings in the moment, but they weren't fair.
Sometimes you just got to get it out.
Yeah. So I did.
Yeah. I think I filled up like 3 journals there. Some of it I was just trying to piece together a timeline of certain events, and because I have a lot of scrambled pieces, I will say, and some missing pieces, and so just trying to like figure some of those things out. I wrote a lot. There were probably some angry things in there. I didn't get rid of anything though.
I did.
That's interesting, because it's interesting to look back on things that you you don't want to. I will say overall, like overarching inpatient experience, I wouldn't be sitting here. I wouldn't be. I don't think if anything happened differently, if there was a different sequence of events, I don't know that I'd be sitting here. So overall, inpatient, I think, helped to guide me and help me get on the right path. And I met some incredible people that I stay in contact with that also recognize that this is like really hard.
Right.
It's really hard to feel everything.
Yeah. I hope in our future work as we get it going that somehow I can be connected to the other loved ones at home who maybe are having more of my experience.
Yeah.
Because it was fucking miserable. And we weren't necessarily open and honest with everybody, you know, around us physically, like neighbors and coworkers and things. And so...
Oh, while I was gone?
Yeah, or,
yeah,
you know, your exit. And so it's kind of hard to support.
When you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and I definitely bugged your coworkers about the health issues their kid was having, you know, because it was important to get some of that handled. And there was a lot of support in that way. But I think I could probably go from my personal experience and give other people in my shoes a different type of support, because I anticipated getting that from your treatment center, and I just don't think that was really maybe families get it. Maybe I had like way too high expectations. I don't know. Maybe I was just too cuckoo for them to like even want to pick up the phone and call me. Possible. And I know I'm a little stubborn.
That's a good word. Okay.
when I'm that irritated.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kaylee probably had no desire to talk to me.
I wonder. So you did. I think did you attend an Al-Anon meeting via Zoom?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they're like, we can't help you. Try to sign on to one of these meetings. Maybe you can get something from there.
And you had mentioned that you just didn't like identify with anybody. I wonder if, just out of curiosity, like if you signed on to a different one, because I have been to a few meetings now, and I don't love them all.
Mm-hmm.
And they aren't all created equal, that's for sure. But I wonder if you went in with the mindset of like just trying to find a similarity with somebody rather than like looking for the differences, because you definitely did.
Yeah.
You're like, well, my wife doesn't have any legal issues.
Yeah.
She didn't lose her job. She didn't run up all the credit cards. She didn't do this. So I can't relate at all. So I wonder if you went into a meeting with a different mindset of just like trying to see if someone has some common thread, if you would feel differently.
I wasn't in the place at that time to like...
It was too new.
It was too new, and I just wanted there to be someone else.
With the exact same story.
Yeah. Yeah. I just needed that. I just wanted someone else to like their loved one that was in treatment, and it just did not. I mean, the stories that people are telling, they're just angry. And I was angry. I was angry about phase 10, not really anything else. I was just mad about that. You know, so it was just totally different.
And I knew you were angry, but we didn't have enough time to talk about any of it. And even when we did have more time in those like family Zoom sessions, it's moderated. So.
And I can't in those meetings with people sitting right there be like, hey, I think they're worthless. You know, like.
You were very angry.
Yeah.
You were very angry. I don't know that it's fair to say that that particular person is worthless, because she was.
That's what I'm
very
saying.
kind to me.
Right. And I know you had a much better, but I couldn't, you know, because they're in, I would have maybe said that to you, and then you could have said to me, actually, that human has helped me tremendously. So chill out. But we couldn't have that conversation in front of them. It was just awkward. The whole thing was awkward.
Well, and then the pressure of the 15-minute phone call, we couldn't even get through a conversation like that in one of those.
I mean, look at us right now. We've rambled on for an hour about, you know, we just don't communicate well quickly.
I mean, we communicate well, but not in that circumstance.
Quickly. I think we have a lot of time. When I'm wound up about something, like to have a lot of questions answered. And maybe even the same question asked differently a few times, just to like ease my little mind. And we just didn't have that time.
Yeah. I think I have more to say about my experience after inpatient.
Yeah.
Because it was recommended to attend like a partial hospitalization program. They wanted me to go to a bedded program, so like where you live there and attend group and meetings, and I think the one that they wanted me to go to was like 2 hours away from home, something like that. Like, I need to go home. Like, I don't want to go to a bedded program still 2 hours away for another 6 to 8 weeks.
Yes.
Before going home. And I was also nervous about coming home because it's the inpatient bubble. Like, nothing nothing can touch you there. There's no exposure to substances. I mean, we're talking about them in meetings and things in groups, but you know it's not there. You know you can't get it.
Yeah.
So it's a bubble. It's Disneyland, I suppose.
Yeah.
In a way. That it feels safer because I know I'm not going to leave my cabin and have to decide to say, no thanks, I don't want to partake in that. I don't have to say that because I know it's not there. So knowing that I would be faced with decisions to use or not use, leaving there, that was really scary. And also just the amount of like new emotions I was feeling and still feeling really anxious and worried about what people were going to think. And was I going to, I mean, I was like, most people probably figured it out if I disappeared for 30 days and didn't have access to a phone. I don't know. I feel like I would probably come to that conclusion about somebody else. I don't know. But I hadn't said where I was going except for to very select people. And they were sworn to secrecy as well. So I just had a lot of worries coming out.
Yeah.
And ended up agreeing to go to a partial hospitalization program that was not bedded, so I did it from home. So I would come home, sleep at home, and I would go to PHP from, 9 a.m. to
4, I think it
4,
was. Yeah.
something like that, every day, Monday through Friday. And so I didn't go back to work when I thought I was going to go back to work, because I was going to go back to work like the day I got home.
31 days.
Talk about being naive. So I extended my leave and went to PHP Monday through Friday, and I just felt like I wasn't getting anything out of it, and I felt like it was a shit show there. I mean, there were some nice people working there, but it was completely disorganized. There were some people in groups that I just like didn't identify at all with. I was the only woman for a few weeks, I think, right? Like 2 weeks, I think I was the only woman there. And it's like, well, I really don't identify with any of these. There were some similarities. There were some nice people that I met there. Don't get me wrong, but... And then even there, they were promising, like, really intense trauma therapy.
Right.
And that was one of the reasons that I picked that PHP, because they promised that they were going to do EMDR therapy. And then I get there, and I even asked them about that on the phone call. And I get there, and they don't have anybody there that's certified in that. And I was like, oh, okay. And I didn't even get a counselor assigned to me until a week in. And this is a 6-week program.
Right.
Like, you're supposed to have 2 counseling sessions every week, and they're supposed to be intense, and I wasn't getting that.
And we kind of hoped that you would make a connection and keep that long term, that counselor.
Because that's how they marketed their...
Then we found out that that wasn't a thing. And so there is no point in deep diving for any amount of weeks. If it's up to 6 weeks or 8 weeks, there's just no point. So
No. But they had marketed their services that way, that they would do, step down treatment, and you would be able to stay with your counselor as outpatient therapy and just step down to outpatient counseling with that same therapist. That's how they advertised their services, but that wasn't reality.
Which, that's another one of my irritations.
Oh, man.
Because as the loved one I, for some reason, wasn't allowed to be on any of those calls with you as you're trying to pick your next steps. And I understood that ultimately it's your decision. But what I was trying to say is, like, that's just not how we function as a couple. There's nothing that's just my decision. And there's nothing that's just your decision. And that's what was told to me. It's her decision. And I was like, well, we're married. I can't do this. And again, it wasn't the kids. It wasn't parenting alone. It wasn't being solely responsible for our children. It was all the other things. And I knew I could not. I just couldn't do it for another 6 to 8 weeks if you went to a different program where you stayed there. And so I was like, I need to be on these calls where you were calling to find out about said programs because I ask different questions than she does. Like, and again, they're like, I know I got the controlling label like right on my head for my behavior around that, but I was just like, we would never pick a 6 to 8 week program for you or I or our kids or our dog.
Nope. Without
the input from the other person. And I wanted to ask the financial questions because in our dynamic I handle all of that. And I had a whole different set of questions,
which we talked about on one of our 15-minute phone calls, and I'm like furiously writing down your questions. And I think by that point you had 2 or 3 different sets of answers. I got a different set of answers.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then we even got different answers when we showed up to PHP.
But that's, again, one of those scenarios where I was just so pissed.
I was pissed about that, too. Because
we would never make this decision alone. I mean, everything.
Even if we don't particularly agree on what the other one ends up doing, at least we've talked about it. I don't know.
I mean, I at least ask you before I sign up for a pickleball tournament, and then I'm like, oh, yeah, you don't love it. Okay.
Maybe
click.
Most of the time you ask me. Sometimes you're like, oh, by the way, hope that's okay.
But yeah, that was rough. I think I really came unglued about that too. It was a rough 30 days for me, behaviorally, emotionally.
I ultimately ended up picking the PHP that I could do from home because it was like 10 minutes down the road. And at that point, I think we knew it wasn't in network with insurance, but I was like, I don't really give a shit. Get me home, and we'll figure it out from there. Yeah. But PHP was not the place for me. Really wasn't. Did not find it helpful. I felt like I was in a chaotic preschool. Like that's what it like.
And I was trying to hear you and be supportive, but I wanted you to quit because I was like, this is out of network. You're getting nothing out of it.
It was stressing me out more.
But then there's the stress. Well, if you quit the program, do you then have to go like right back to work? Like, do you still have an excuse to not be in work because you weren't necessarily healthy enough at that point to be at work? There's no way. And so, man, the whole insurance piece and how are people going to pay for this? I mean, that's a whole other...
We still don't know.
Yeah, whole other stressor. It really is. Yeah. But your sobriety was worth it. I mean, you can't put a price tag on it. And so we just made the decisions that were... Well, you made the decision that was best for us.
We talked about it.
Yeah.
And you agreed.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you wanted me home.
Yeah, that's all. And I didn't want your help. I just wanted you in a space where we could communicate for hours at night about things that were bothering us, or I just wanted that time. God, that was a weird
It feels like so long ago, but it really isn't that long ago.
I'm glad we're talking about it now because I'm like trying to forget it. So now maybe we can just like bury it and be done with it.
Yeah, PHP, it's supposed to be like, a step down from inpatient, help you build more skills before you drop down to intensive outpatient therapy, which is shorter, shorter in duration during the day, but you still go every day, and you can drop down to 3 days a week. And
I'm sure there's plenty of PHP programs out there that are really good. Just like I'm sure there's plenty of inpatient treatments that are terrible.
I'm sure.
So you had a good experience for probably the more important one.
Yeah, I was just really frustrated because the PHP kept telling me, we follow a curriculum. Mm-hmm. I think I almost felt like my intelligence was insulted, maybe. Like we have a 12-week curriculum, and this is what we follow. And I was like, but you're in what curriculum? Show me the curriculum, because it's, you guys are coming in first thing in the morning and being like, oh, I think we're going to do this today. We're going to do this. I'm like, you're not even bringing it back around to relapse prevention or, how this actually makes any sense when we're talking about sobriety. There's another piece to this. It was a dual diagnosis program. So it was for mental health and substance abuse treatment. And I could see how it was a dual diagnosis thing. But if it's dual diagnosis, then you need to be addressing both things, not just mental health and not just substance abuse. And they were having a really difficult time marrying the two and making sure it was applicable for everybody that was in the room. So there were many times that I just felt like, I'm not sure this applies. And yes, you're supposed to be able to extrapolate and apply certain things that you're learning to other areas of your life, but a lot of it really felt like preschool, kindergarten at the max. Like, we're going to go through the alphabet and list self-care tasks. I'm like, I can do this on my own goddamn time.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, we're all going to read together an excerpt from the big book. I can read the big book on my own time, or I can go to a meeting, or I can do that. If we're not going to talk about any of it and we're just going to read it out loud, don't waste my time.
Right. And really, after you left there, I think the time that we had together
was more beneficial than anything.
Yeah.
I did raise my concerns. I voiced my concerns. I asked for the curriculum. They really couldn't provide it in a timely manner, and then even after they provided it, they didn't follow it. So I said I was done. I wasn't returning after the vacation that we had already had planned months in advance. And it was like the last day. Was it the last day or the second to last day that they pulled me into the office and were like, oh, we didn't realize your addiction issues were so serious.
Oh, like, yeah, that's right.
Oh, my God. I've been here for 4 weeks. You guys have all of my history. You did an intake, and you didn't realize that it was such a problem, and yet you are worried that I'm not ready to discharge. Like, I'm not coming back. You're not helping me.
Right. Actually, you were coming home way more frustrated than you should have been.
Talk about setting somebody up to relapse. Like, I was not getting the support there that I needed, nor was I getting help in developing any tools for relapse prevention specifically. It was really disheartening and, like, way more frustrating. And they were supposed to help set up,
aftercare
care with, like, an individual counselor and And I did that
Which we
by
just-
myself.
Yeah.
I was like, I already did that because you guys were taking too goddamn long. So I'm set up with this because in that meeting where they said my stuff was so significant, they're like, well, what's your plan? And they didn't, what they should have done as a medical treatment place, right? Okay, can we talk you into doing intensive outpatient treatment 5 days a week? So it's shorter, but you're still here. Or if you don't want to do that, can we talk you into 3 days a week? Can we talk you into doing the evening classes? None of that was offered because I was so blunt in my, well, I'm assuming now. I'm assuming it wasn't talked about because I was so blunt in my dissatisfaction with many things there. But I just was made to feel like the bad guy. Like, I'm speaking up for myself. I'm saying this isn't helping. What's your aftercare plan? Oh, don't worry. I did your case manager's job, and I set up my own appointments by myself.
You were getting the same experience that I had with inpatient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was so frustrated that I reached out to my inpatient facility and said, this is the experience that I've had with this PHP program, because I was seeing some people that I had met inpatient start to come to the program, and I was like,
just FYI.
If you're starting to recommend this place, just maybe do a little bit more digging
research,
because maybe I had too high of standards. I don't know. Maybe I was just frustrated and like looking for an out. I don't know. I don't know. I still don't know if that was like overall the best decision to attend. Like I was trying to follow all of the recommendations that were being given to me. Like, you can't leave inpatient treatment, intensive inpatient stay, and go to nothing. Like, you're gonna end up back here, or you're gonna end up in jail, or you're gonna end up dead. So you need an aftercare plan. And I was scared enough that I was like, okay,
yeah, for sure,
I'll do whatever you tell me I'm supposed to do.
Right.
And then the reality of following through with that recommendation just like really didn't live up to my standards in my head, and I was really disappointed. I had a lot to say about PHP.
Same.
That's frustrating because I can see if there were people that like weren't as headstrong or didn't have as much support, that frustration could definitely push you further into like a potential relapse, and then you are way further than where you started. And we've talked about those relapses, that it's scary, and you usually pick up where you left off.
Or worse.
So that's scary to think about.
But you made it to 152.
I did make it to day 152, which is pretty crazy to think about. Feels like a long time, feels like a short time. So we'll keep going. On that note, we have talked a very long time.
Oh boy.
Whoops.
That was your fault.
See, 15-minute phone calls don't work
No.
for us. It really doesn't.
We're not even really that talkative, like in person, I don't think. Compared to other people that live in this state. Exactly. Okay, go for it.
Oh, that was funny. Oh, man. Still don't have this memorized yet. Well, thank you for sharing another evening conversation with us. Whether you're living in recovery, exploring a sober, curious lifestyle, supporting a loved one, or simply taking a quiet pause at the end of your day, we're grateful you chose to spend this time here. If something we talked about tonight spoke to you, please consider liking and subscribing so we can continue to grow this community together. Wherever you are, I messed it up.
In your journey.
Wherever you are on your journey. Yeah. We hope you've made it to another bedtime.
Unbuzzed.
Remember, there's an easier, softer way to live, and you never have to walk this path alone. Good night, and we'll see you next time on Unbuzzed at Bedtime.
Good night.
Good night.